A little girl is on the street when a man grabs her and puts her in the car. Two women who are nearby witness the scene and decide to try to help the girl. The driver gets into the car and prepares to leave, while his henchman hides the girl in the trunk and settles into the car. He says everything is ready and they can go now. The driver is starting the car to leave. One of the women, Stacy, hides behind the car. Her sister Janice gets in front of the car and asks the men not to get out yet. She bends down and dumps a bottle of water under the car. Janice goes to the driver and asks him to check the car's engine, as there's water on the floor and she says it smells like gasoline. The henchman calls the driver so they can check what's going on. Stacy remains hidden behind the car. Janice tries to distract the kidnappers, saying that such a leak can be very dangerous, and if they want, she can call her husband. He's a mechanic and understands a lot about this kind of thing. Janice makes a sign for her sister to proceed. Stacy gets up and opens the trunk. Inside is the kidnapped girl, but she's unconscious, and Stacy tries to make her wake up, but the girl doesn't get up. The henchman starts to suspect and decides to check if everything is right inside the car, while the driver remains trying to discover the defect in the car. Realizing someone is coming, Stacy resolves to hide as quickly as possible. The henchman finds the car trunk open, but closes it, not suspecting that someone else has entered the car. They get back in the car and are about to leave. Realizing they're leaving, Janice puts her plan B into action and puts a tool in the tire, and just as they try to get out, they fail. The henchman gets impatient and asks what happened this time. The driver doesn't know how to answer and asks him to go find out what happened. Janice appears at the window and again says she can call her husband, but the driver waves her off. She insists, but he says he doesn't need to, because her colleague is already trying to solve what happened and tries to spare her. Stacy takes advantage of the moment when he's distracted talking to his sister and tries to call the girl. She wakes up, but Stacy asks her to be quiet so they can get out of there. She asks if the girl can move, but the girl replies no as her feet are tied. Stacy tries to calm her down and says that she'll sort it out. She starts looking for an object to cut the ropes that tie the girl's feet. She looks around her while her sister is still distracting the driver, and finds a cutter in the front of the car. She needs to get it. Very carefully, and with slow and calculated movements, she takes the stiletto while the driver doesn't even notice her presence. She hides again so that no one sees her. The henchman comes back and says the tire tore. The driver tells him to change it, but he doesn't have the necessary tools to make the change. The driver doesn't want to hear about excuses. He's impatient because he's wasted too much time. He's impatient because things are going wrong. The henchman will try to solve the problem. Janice tries to act natural and not suspicious. The driver's phone starts to ring. He answers the call, but the signal is very bad. He repeats hello several times, but he doesn't hear what the person wants to say. As he can't finish the call, he decides to get out of the car to look for a place where he can talk better. This is the perfect opportunity for Stacy and the girl to get out of the car. However, when trying to leave, Stacy realizes that she's unable to open the car trunk. The driver walks away, and Janice is watching him. She goes to her sister and says they need to leave soon, but Stacy says she can't open the door. Janice suggests they leave through the front door quickly, before the kidnappers return. She asks them to leave soon, and helps by opening the car door. The driver remains on the phone. The girl manages to crawl to the front of the car and out the door with Janice and Stacy's help. The girl manages to get out. Janice is worried and rushes the girl, saying the kidnapper is coming back. But when Stacy tries to do the same, she can't. Her foot got stuck and she can't get out. The sister tells her to leave soon because they're on their way back. Stacy replies that she won't make it, and asks her sister to take the girl to a safe place. She'll find a way to get out of there. The sister asks her to be very careful. Janice manages to pass with the girl behind the kidnapper without him noticing their presence. He ends the conversation on the phone, hangs up and gets back in the car, looking back to see if everything is all right with the girl. The kidnapper doesn't even suspect that the girl left and that he has someone else in the car. Janice takes the girl away from them. She asks the girl to listen to her well. She shouldn't leave there. The girl asks where Janice is going. She replies that she'll try to rescue her sister, but that the girl must not leave that place at all. Suddenly a man appears. He's the girl's father. The girl tries to explain what happened, but her father is furious as he has been looking for her for hours. She tries again to talk, but her father's cell phone rings and he says he needs to answer it. He answers the phone, takes her by the hand and walks away with her. When they're passing on the street, the henchman passes by them and recognizes the girl. He drops things and immediately takes off running. The driver asks what took him so long. The henchman asks what he's been doing. The driver replies that he stayed in the car watching over the girl. The henchman finds this very funny and asks if he's sure the girl is in the car. The driver says yes. Of course, the girl is there. Where else would she be? The henchman says he just saw the girl walking with her father on the street. If the driver is so sure she didn't run away, why doesn't he prove it? The henchman asks him to show that the girl is there. But when they pull back the curtain, it's Stacy they see. She asks them not to hurt her. The henchman is getting out of the car, but Janice is prepared, and when he approaches, she knocks him down. She falls unconscious to the ground, but the driver, who appears to be armed, immobilizes her. She asks him not to hurt her. He opens the trunk of the car and sends Stacy down. Janice is worried about her sister, but she says she's fine. The driver takes a rope, hands it to Janice and tells her to tie her sister up. Janice complies, but Stacy is scared and crying. Janice asks him to let them go, but the driver tells her to shut up and go faster. He says he's good to go and tells Stacy to get back in the car. She goes in, and he locks her up again. As for Janice, he orders her to go and face the wall, and hurries her along. The girl's father is still on the phone when she suddenly takes the phone from him. He's not satisfied with his daughter's attitude and gets angry with her. The girl says that she needs to tell him something important, which she has been trying to talk about from an early age. Janice is still in trouble, but tells the kidnapper that the girl is already safe and with her father. The driver doesn't want to hear anything she has to say and tells her to shut up, but suddenly a policeman appears and arrests the kidnapper. The cop says that the driver and the henchman are going to spend a lot of time in jail, and takes him into custody. Janice runs to her sister and hugs her. They're scared but try to calm down. The girl thanks them for saving her life. Despite the great scare they took, in the end everything worked out and they are safe now.